Hello, my dear friends. Today we're going to talk about debunking spring cleaning. I know that there are lots and lots of things that will be on the internet soon about spring cleaning, but let's talk about why people spring clean. And I'm going to start with a story. This is a story of the woman who always cut her ham in half. Her husband said, "Why do you always cut our ham in half before you put it in the pot to cook it?" And she said, "Because my mother always did it that way." And she did it for her whole married life. One time her mother happened to be at her house when she was preparing a ham. She took the ham out and proudly cut it in half in front of her mother and put it in the pot. And her mother said, "Why in the world are you cutting that ham in half?" And she said, "Well, Mother, that's what you always taught me to do." And her mother said, "That's because I had a small pot." Sometimes we do things because it's the way it's always been. And I think that's the truth about spring cleaning. As you know, with the FlyLady system, we consistently do the same thing day after day, week after week, month after month. And it's our 3-layer cake. We do routines, we do basic weekly plan, and we do weekly routine, basic weekly plan, and zones. And in the zones, once we have decluttered, we begin deep cleaning, which is what spring cleaning is. Why did people spring clean? Well, coal dust was on their walls. Their houses were shut up and they had fireplaces to keep their house warm. And there was all kinds of dust in their house. People in the old days would take their furniture outside to air it out. Everything. Their house looked like they were moving. It was topsy-turvy. You can read about it in the 19th century, what people did. And some women were really happy about it. They loved cleaning, but most of them didn't really appreciate it. And they had to use all kind of horrible things to clean their walls and their baseboards and their carpets, and they had to beat things. It was a very physical activity, pardon me, because they didn't have the conveniences we have today. Nor did they have a system that like we have today, nor did they have the conveniences that we have today. So when you hear people talk about spring cleaning, don't be guilted into doing that. That is totally unnecessary, okay? I'll read you some things about spring cleaning. This is funny. Okay, this is a little bit long, but it's okay. I want you to hear this. So you remember the woman who cut her ham in half. A manual for young housekeepers provided these instructions for spring cleaning in 1869. Were you, reader, some day in spring, generally in the week before Easter, to take a walk through the villages, which we know you might be ready to suppose that a general emigration was contemplated. You would see chairs and tables, kneading troughs and cradles, bedspreads and bedding, all put out for airing, while busy cottagers are scrubbing and whitewashing and perhaps painting and papering within doors. Neither is the practice confined to the poorer classes only. Perhaps not many, even inexperienced housekeepers would begin at the downstairs passages and parlors and proceed upstairs to bedrooms, etc. Still, it may not be quite needless to some to say, begin at the top and work on downwards. Should you clean the lower rooms first, they will be sadly dusty by the time the rest are completed. So imagine how dusty those homes were, okay? While sweeping, keep all doors shut so that the dust may not spread, and let those who are not active assistants in operations know as little as possible about what is going on. Now, doesn't that make you wonder why we want kids out of the house? These old things that people used to do. We have no brooms and brushes here and there to proclaim it, and no water pails and dustpans standing about to endanger people's shins. In other words, put your things away as you're cleaning. The first thing to be done in a room is to remove any drapery and carpets. Can you imagine what a mess we would have if we started doing this? To be carried out and brushed and shaken, and if for this purpose they are put into a charwoman's hands, which is somebody who would wash up for you, it may be well to see that they are not thrown down in the yard or doorway, but to be trampled on until it suits her to attend to them. If circumstances prevent a room from being entirely emptied out, all that is left in it should be covered over, and before any cleaning commences, the chimney, if needed, should be swept. Do you know how much stuff I mean, that's a professional job that we have somebody do today. If you need a chimney sweep, it's a professional job. And the ceilings and the walls brushed down before the floor is scoured. Aren't you blessed to live in this time? If boards are very dirty, a handful of unslaked lime thrown into the water assists with cleaning them. Or wood ashes used with soap will make the boards very white and sweet. Housekeepers who wish to avoid expense will find it by no means necessary to implore a plasterer to whitewash a ceiling. Any active charwoman can do it by laying on with a brush a mixture of either quicklime and water or whitening in water. See, this is true spring cleaning. Today, it's been edited down, but people still think they need to do all this. I'm not going to read anymore because it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. All the things they did. It was a lot of work, but they didn't have a vacuum cleaner, electric vacuum cleaner. They didn't have a spray mop. They didn't have probably even a good quality feather duster. They didn't have microfiber cloths for sure. And there's a lot of things they didn't have that we have today. So be happy that all you have to do is the 3-layer cake. Just do your routines every day. Don't sweat it. Don't feel pressured by others to spring clean, because you don't have to do that. You're going to deep clean in 15-minute increments or less once your rooms are decluttered. If you consistently declutter and do weekly home blessing hour and the things that I tell you to do on a regular basis, you're going to end up with a decluttered, streamlined home that is easy to clean, and you can clean it by zone. And it's going to be lovely. If you look in, I recommend Kimmy Hughes, who is the She's in Her Apron YouTuber. Her book, her planner is excellent. And in the beginning of her planner, she lists things that would typically be in your plan for your house. So she's got, for example, dust baseboards, do your windows, beat your mat, this is like at the entrance, vacuum, mop, wipe walls and switches, and straighten the coat closet. So that's deep cleaning. But you don't have to do that and the porch and the back door and the appliances and the kitchen and the cupboards and the pantry and the dining room and the bathroom. All of that would be in the bedrooms. That would all be considered spring cleaning. So you don't have to do that. You're just going to do your zone every week, consistently, like the dripping of water. Okay? That's just one little example. She's got a whole list of things that we can do once we are to the point where our rooms are decluttered. She also has home maintenance, which is also something you want to consider. So for spring, she's got lists of things to do in your home and for your car. So you can delegate those things, or you can do, there's 3 months of spring. You can just pick one a week to do, and you'll have them all done by the end of the season, and do the next ones the next time. So there's things that we do that might seem like spring cleaning or spring maintenance, but it's not. It's just our regular way that we do things so that we have time to enjoy our family, which is what it's really about, and to have time for yourself so that you are centered and feel cared for, and then you're more able to care for others and be the nurturer, the homemaker that you were intended to be. That's it for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Remember that prayer changes things and that you are beautiful. So be beautiful.